Coy Gregory hadn't seen the avocado green of his linoleum floors for over 5 years. No time for cleaning with more research to be done. Always more research. Old leads, busted leads, good leads, these all made it to his floor. Only the best, the creme de la creme, made it to the high table kitchen table that was at the heart of his research operation. He was getting closer by the minute to the truth. A truth so terrible and somehow beautiful, every fiber of Corey's soul propelled him forward. He knew from the halls of Washington to the shores of California, all of America would soon feel the force of the truth he had uncovered. He had mastered the truth. He had mastered the video editing software needed to explain the truth. He had mastered storytelling itself to make an explosive 4-hour documentary. Only one detail eluded him, lo these many months. How to upload the video over dial-up.
Yeah. This XFL Fancast. Woo! Yeah. XFL Fancast, y'all. Oh, you know I ain't gonna make you wait. XFL Fancast. Let's get on with the show. XFL Fancast. Now.
Hello and welcome to the XFL the Fancast. You all have made it and you are welcome. Have yourself a schnitzel and some Goldschlager and just enjoy.
Yo, this is another episode of the XFL Fancast. Today, we might call it the XFL Conspiracy Cast. Conspiracy Cast. Yeah, because this one's going to be about a conspiracy. I see something afoot. Well, I don't see it. You know, actually, I'm going to give it up to my boys, to the boys over at Reddit. I read a really interesting thread about goings on, and I buy it. I buy the conspiracy theory. It's not really a conspiracy theory. Actually, it is. It's a conspiracy theory. It goes straight to the top. Straight to the top. From all sides and from all angles. It's coming. Actually, it's probably... this is not world-beating stuff. This is... You know, we're talking about a strategy, a conspiracy theory about rolling out a new product. Rolling out something that can really make a difference. So that's not really a conspiracy theory. I would call that a marketing ploy. But I'll tell you something. I've been reading this book on strategy called Strategy. It is, I mean, the book's name has a strategy to let you know what it is without thinking too hard, because the book's name is Strategy About Strategy. And it's pretty interesting. This book does a deal. Oh, we're going to talk about books. Hey, you didn't know? You thought you were turning into a sports podcast, and now you're listening about a book review. Well, that's your luck, you know? That's what you get at the XFL Fancast. With your host, me, Seven Morgan. By the way, I never do that. Seven Morgan, I'm your host. Hope y'all are having a good time. Hope y'all are, living good out there. It's a little rainy today. I'm recording this podcast on a rainy day, but I'll tell you something. Rain's good for podcasts. Rain's good for thinking. But let's get back to strategy. So, reading this book about strategy, and it covers. I've read. Okay, let's see. More than 2/3 of it. I'm on the home stretch of this book, and it's a long book. It's like 600 pages. So I'm a little proud of myself for getting through it, you know. It's mostly good. This book is mostly good. The military part is amazing. So he does a really good job of just starting at the Greeks and moving into the modern day and all the major strategic thinkers and the seminal works on strategy and in regards to warfare. And actually, if it's warfare, it really applies to a lot of things. But I didn't know all of these things. So if someone's like a big strategy dork, they probably already knew these things, but I didn't know these things. Like I learned about Clausewitz, and I learned about the French guy with a J. What was it? Jamboree? What was his name? Well, obviously I need to review my notes, but it is a great book. So you learn about all the stuff and OODA loops. OODA loops. What is that? Observe, orient, decide, act. It's a strategy for life, not only warfare. But the book covers warfare. Then it goes into then it gets into like kind of political strategy, and he mostly covers left-wing political strategy because the dude is probably left-wing, and he's just whatever. It don't matter. It's actually pretty interesting to learn about the strategic thoughts and moments of these kind of like underdog political movements, and he does a great job of covering it. Whatever. Don't. You can learn lessons from people that are not your favorites, So, and then the last part of the book is supposed to be about corporations. And that whole preference leads me to my point, which is, people really think about strategy, and they think about it in multi dimensions. And, I'm not a particularly strategic thinker. I mean, I do have strategies, but I'm not like this type of person that is, quote unquote Machiavellian, where you're having lots of machinations and ploys. And machinations is a $10 word, right? Machinations means, it's a series of covert ploys to gain an objective. That's a machination. But I'll tell you, what I did learn by reading this kind of book and other books I've read and living life is that there are people out there that plot and scheme, and a lot of things that you think are just kind of straightforward are not straightforward. And that leads me to the XFL. And that leads me to the new conspiracy that I read on Reddit about the new AAFL and and as it relates to the XFL. And let me tell you something. Let me give credit. This is on the XFL, /r/XFL. It's called My Theory on the American Alliance of Football by the Rodfather. The Rodfather. It's a pretty good name. It's solid. So I want to give credit for a lot of the ideas I'm about to talk about, but it makes a lot of sense to me. There's this new thing that just came out. There was an announcement that there's another new football league, the American Alliance of Football. So we're coming out with the XFL in 2020, and that's what this podcast has to date been dedicated to. And we might. Who knows? We might expand the podcast, but I mean, we're called the XFL Fancast, so who knows what we do? Going future in the world, making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. That's cheers. That's cheers. That's cheers. Cheers. Why did I do a cheers? A cheers side there. Somebody with a psychology degree might have to play that back to me, and we can learn what happened there. But no, essentially, there are strategies and marketing ploys to get names out there. I mean, and who's a bigger marketing genius than Vince McMahon? This is a guy that's been in wrestling and been in the he's been in the game a long, long time. And wrestling's all about getting you to think one thing when another thing happens. It's about surprise. It's about expecting the unexpected. I mean, the only thing you can expect is the unexpected, and sometimes the unexpected is the expected thing. That's what wrestling does to you. But we just got this announcement very recently that there's a new AAF league of folks that are associated. I think it's the kid of Dick Ebersol, that is, and Peter Thiel. They are backing a new league that's going to come out even a year before the XFL, which is unbelievable. Really interesting. That's pretty cool. So because the reason I started this XFL Fancast was I'm into an alternative to the NFL. I'm into competition and a new football league. If it's the XFL, that's really sweet to me because I have an affinity for the XFL because I remember it when I was younger and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how crazy it was, and you can listen to previous podcasts and hear my thoughts on that. And I'll continue to have thoughts because we need stuff to talk about. But they're making this new AAFL, right? And I think it's called the American Alliance of Football, which is a stupid. Well, is that a stupid name? Nah. It's a name. It's like beer. It might be an acquired taste. The American Alliance of Football. I don't know. The truth is it's just different. I said it's a stupid name, but it might not be a stupid name. It's just a name that I'm unfamiliar with. It might actually be a great name. It's like I said, like beer. A lot of people don't like beer, but when they first try it, but then it becomes an acquired taste, and they can't imagine anything being better. So the AAF, that is, I guess that's the abbreviation, right? And so that's coming out, and from what we know, it's pretty similar to what the XFL is doing. There is a let's see, I think it's going to be 8 teams in a 10-week season. And it's coming out a year earlier than the XFL is announced. Who knows? This might just be, just straight up competition like we see on the surface. It's just like everyone sees that there's an opportunity to start a new football league, and here's another entrance. But if you read the comments on Reddit a little deeper, we will see there's more to it than that. So essentially the conspiracy theory, or as I would call it, just a marketing ploy, that is at the crux of this idea, that this poster and then several other posters add even more facts to make it interesting, is that it's it's kind of like a what do they call it, the heel and the baby face, or two sides of the same coin coming out at the same time. So you have the XFL coming out, and you have this AAF coming out, and they're both, they both generate marketing and interest on their own. They both play a couple seasons or a few seasons separately, and then after a couple seasons, maybe even one season. According to our original poster, they merge and then they form the Vince Bowl, right? It'll be a merger of the two leagues into a bigger league. a bigger league. So there's there's precedence for this because there was the NFL and the AFL. That merger happened a long time ago, and that merger happened, I think, 52 years ago. The way we know, or it's like you know when the NFL AFL merger happened because Super Bowl I was the merger title game, I believe, right? And then we've had 52 of those, or was it 53? I feel it was 52, right? So we've had a lot. That's how you know how long ago the NFL and AFL merged. Wait, no, is that right? Is that how it is? Because I feel like the Broncos were, because they always say since the merger. Maybe the merger happened in the 70s. I'd Google it right now, but I listen to the playback of these podcasts, and when I type, you can hear it, right? Well, who cares? Let's just do it. Y'all, can you indulge a couple typing hands? Let's see. When did AFL and NFL did the merger? When did they do that merger? And this was June 8th, 1966. So that's right. I think so that is this first Super Bowl. Okay. They did the merger. Let's see. Okay, I guess the league maintained separate regular season schedules for the next 4 seasons from 66 to 69, and then in 1970 was the official merger. So so when was the first Super Bowl? Let's Google that. Let's see if my original statement is right. So it was 1970 was the first year. Okay, when was the first Super Bowl? All right. 1967. Okay. Okay, it was the first AFL NFL World Championship. I'm right. Hey, bam, I am a genius. See, that's pretty good. That's what growing up listening to talk radio, listening to some old cats talk about football. You pick up a few things, okay. Yeah, so you pick up a few things. So, and you all just learned some facts. Very cool. So that is like the main crux of the theory is that Vince McMahon and Ebersol are the plan the whole time is to do that, is to do a NFL and AFL, kind of, and it's almost like an A/B test. You can have different sets of rules in both leagues, and then they're gonna merge together into a new league that instead of having 8 teams each, it'll be 16 teams with a championship game. And you can also look at its way to diversify the investment. And I'll tell you. Someone also in this Reddit forum that I was reading made a really good point. I had read this other places. That that Vince McMahon and the company behind XFL, they had filed a trademark for lots of different names, right? And one of the names that they trademarked was the UFL, right? The UFL, which is the United Football League. Which made it seem like, yeah, they're just, testing a bunch of names out, getting the trademarks, whatever. Because there was a lot of names trademarked, not just UFL. But think about that. United Football League, XFL, AAF, they come together and they form the United Football League. That's like, I don't know. I think like this conspiracy theory, quote unquote, I think I don't know. It's almost confirmed. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. So, I'm pretty much sure I need to start covering the AAF on this podcast, and we might need to change the name. I don't know. Because I'm pretty convinced. Like, I love this conspiracy theory. And it might not be true. I mean, it could be just... but there's also... The thing is there's ties to... Ebersol is connected with NBC, and I guess they did the original XFL experiment in 2001 together. So these are... and I think it's maybe a couple different players, but they're all people that know each other, Vince McMahon and the Ebersols. So these are people that already know each other, already have established their relationships. They could just be competitive and, getting after each other. But, I think if you look another layer deep, especially with that UFL and the fact that there's precedents in the world with the NFL and the AFL, this theory of what's going on makes a lot of sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. It's ringing true. It's ringing true. I don't know if it's ringing true to you. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? And it's cool. Like, I like that. My whole thing is not XFL. I don't need the XFL necessarily. I like the idea of new football and more competition. And so I guess we're going to an era where we're going to have 3 leagues, not just one league, not just 2. I mean, we were just going to go XFL and NFL. Maybe now we got 3 leagues, and then maybe it'll be 2 again. But the main point is that's great. A/B testing for new leagues, different rules. We can settle on stuff. I mean, that doesn't change a whole lot of what we can do. I think it's pretty rad, actually. I mean, I hope that theory is true. I'm actually kind of thinking I need to get more into the AAF. I think that's actually pretty cool too. And yeah, so I think that's pretty rad. I'm kind of enjoying. I'm enjoying this conspiracy theory. I've really had a good time. Whoa. See, I'm trying to add some sound effects. Here we go. Are y'all enjoying this conspiracy theory? The XFL, the AAF, merging together, coming to form the United Football League. All the pieces are in place. The trademarks are marked. Everything is there, it's ready. All that's waiting is us and our mission and our hope that we can still form a new league, a better way for football together. We will march, we will go forward. Nothing will stop us. We will have new football, new rules. XFL. But I'll tell you, I am excited. So, I'm gonna, I don't think it, maybe we'll change the branding of this podcast. Maybe we won't. I don't know. I'm gonna read more about this AAF, but I really like this conspiracy theory. Let me know what y'all think. I think it's fun to get in the heads of what's going on. I mean, heck, it doesn't hurt to speculate. Speculation is fun. Speculation don't hurt no one. So this has been, I think this might be my favorite episode. I don't know if it's y'all's favorite episode, but this is my favorite episode so far of the XFL Fancast. Stay lit.
That was another edition of the XFL Fancast with your host, Seven Morgan. Please reach out to us, communicate with us via Twitter at XFL Fancast, at XFL Fancast on Twitter, via email, xflfancast@gmail.com, xflfancast@gmail.com, and please rate and subscribe. Thank you once again for listening to the XFL Fancast.